Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into one of the most profound paradigm shifts you'll find in ancient Buddhist teachings. It's called the Bodhisattva Shift. Now, we all know that trap, right? You do a good deed like, holding the door for someone or helping out a coworker, only to realize deep down you were kind of just doing it to pat yourself on the back. Well, today, we're completely unpacking the mechanics of moving from that microscopic self-interest to macroscopic altruism. We're going way beyond the basics to see how this shift literally rewires the way we interact with the universe.
This whole journey starts with a pretty sharp diagnosis from a classic text, the Bodhicitta. It says, they haven't even dreamt of true self-interest, let alone generating this beneficial mind for other beings. Okay, ouch. It's a bit of a harsh reality check when you really sit with it. We always think we're acting in our own self-interest, chasing after these temporary pleasures. But this teaching points out that we don't even really know how to achieve lasting happiness for ourselves. And if we can't do that, how could we possibly benefit anyone else? Our everyday attempts at self-benefit just constantly fall short.
So it raises a really tough, reflective question. Is your happiness truly just about you? As we go through these concepts today, let's really challenge our own motives. The source material makes a powerful argument that any happiness tethered solely to me is inherently fragile. Think about it. If your well-being requires everything to go perfectly for you, specifically, you're constantly at the mercy of outside circumstances.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to hit the trap of self-interest, the rarity of bodhicitta, expanding the mind's compass, becoming a daily bodhisattva, the mirror of others, and finally, the ultimate compassionate shift.
Section 1. The Trap of Self-Interest.
So, human nature defaults heavily to self-centeredness. We crave comfort, we desperately want recognition, and we will do pretty much anything to avoid pain. But there's a deep, rational dialectic here. Self-interest is just incredibly narrow. It's literally like a leaky bucket. You keep pouring in these temporary pleasures, validations, and comforts, but the bucket is always draining. You're left with a happiness that perpetually needs refilling. Altruism, though, altruism focuses on shared benefit. It's open, and more importantly, it's sustainable. The beautiful irony here is that true self-awareness isn't about hyper-focusing on your own needs at all. It's realizing that genuinely caring for others is the only reliable, leak-proof way to find lasting peace for yourself. In a weird way, true altruism is the smartest form of self-interest.
Section 2. The Rarity of Bodhicitta.
It is absolutely wild to consider how our daily mental real estate is divided up. For the average person, 99% of it is entirely consumed by I, my hunger, my stress, my success, my commute. Maybe, just maybe, 1% is genuinely focused on others without any strings attached. Because of this overwhelming default setting, making the leap to true, unadulterated altruism is incredibly rare. In the text, a mind that's truly dedicated to others is described as being as rare as a flash of lightning on a pitch-black night. It's just this sudden, brilliant illumination in an otherwise dark, totally self-obsessed landscape. And that lightning flash? That's called bodhicitta. It's defined as a vast, unselfish mind wishing to attain enlightenment and eliminate suffering for the benefit of all beings. From the perspective of a seasoned practitioner, this isn't just about trying to be a nice person. No, it is the absolute ultimate expansion of compassion. And here's the critical distinction that so many people get wrong. It is not about suppressing the self. You aren't crushing your ego into dust or pretending you don't exist. You're just expanding your boundaries so wide that your concept of self simply expands to include everyone else.
Section 3. Expanding the Mind's Compass. Let's look at how we build this from a microscopic idea into a macroscopic reality. You can run this awareness exercise right in the background of your everyday life. Step 1 is simply observing your motive honestly. The next time you do a favor, just quietly ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for them? Honestly, this is the hardest step. Catching a subtly self-serving thought in real time, that takes immense vulnerability. Step 2 is shifting from self-benefit to shared benefit. So when you catch yourself thinking, I hope I have a peaceful day, you actively change the internal dialogue to, I hope everyone has a peaceful day. And step 3 is practicing empathy by recognizing shared suffering and joy. It's acknowledging that the guy who just cut you off in traffic wants to be happy and wants to avoid suffering exactly as much as you do. It's profoundly leveling.
Section 4. The Daily Bodhisattva. Adopting a bodhisattva vow isn't about running off to a mountain cave or giving away your life savings in one grand, impossible gesture. It's really about how we handle our everyday attachments. Take your family dynamic. The default thought is usually keeping score, right? I do the most chores around this house. The Bodhisattva Shift completely drops the scoreboard, changing the thought to, may my family be peaceful. In the workplace, instead of the default, I want a promotion to validate my worth, the shift becomes, I dedicate my work to the success of my team. In friendships, instead of demanding to be understood, you try to be a source of strength for your friend. These are small, incredibly concrete acts of cognitive restructuring that over time will fundamentally rewire your brain.
Section 5. The mirror of others.
Because let's be honest, interacting with other people is exactly where this gets put to the test. The crucial point is how we react when we encounter the really difficult negative traits of other people. Instead of getting defensive, the source material offers this highly effective cognitive reframing technique. When you see someone acting with intense greed, instead of judging them, wish that they find true peace, because their greed is really just a symptom of them lacking peace. When you see anger, realize that some deep underlying pain is fueling their fire, and wish to take that pain away. And maybe the most important, and definitely the hardest part, when you witness selfish acts, use them as a mirror. Let someone else's obnoxious behavior be a humbling reminder to stop your own selfishness. It is incredibly tough in the moment to look at someone acting selfishly and think, yep, I do that too. But when you do, empathy acts as a neutralizing agent for your own frustration. You stop being a reactive victim of someone else's mood, and you become an active practitioner of compassion.
Section 6. The ultimate compassionate shift.
Let's zoom out to the grand scale of these teachings, which brings us to a really profound realization. Altruism isn't suppressing the self, it is expanding your mind through compassion until you encompass everything. We spend so much energy trying to protect our ego, constantly spinning around me, building these massive walls to keep the self safe. But when we drop the ego, we don't lose ourselves. We just stop being so incredibly small. True altruism naturally arises when we realize we're connected to the whole shebang. The turning point in personal growth isn't about adopting some strict new set of rules. It's about infinitely expanding your capacity to care.
So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. If your mind stopped revolving around I, how much larger would your universe become? Seriously, think about that. If we practice this Bodhicitta even a little bit each day, the world doesn't just get kinder, it gets infinitely bigger. The entire universe begins to rotate in compassion, and you get to be an active part of it. Thanks so much for exploring this with us, and definitely try taking a few of these awareness exercises into your week.